Hi, this is Gadi Elkan of Selig Film News. We're here with the co-writer and director of Lady Grey, Alain Choquart. Alain, we talked a little bit on the red carpet yesterday. I let you know that my folks were South African. I was fascinated by the fact that your Lady Grey is not in the Cape. It's somewhere quite different. When did you decide to do that? And how much of that was based when you went out to South Africa and you lived there? It made you change, maybe I need to shoot here, I need to do it this way, and the distances. Will you tell me about that journey you had?
Yes, I started to write a couple of versions of the script in France by my own. I've adapted 2 French novels. I mean, 2 novels from the same writer, which is quite unusual, but which have nothing to do with South Africa, you know, that take place in France nowadays. And I wanted to tell the story of these very strong characters who are shared between the difficulties of everyday, I mean, things like getting food to your children, helping them to grow, making growers bushes, things like that. And they have to deal with enormous thing. First of all, I mean, the weather, the rain, and the history and the past. So that's why I wanted to not to tell a story about what apartheid did to South African nation, but I wanted really to be more universal than this. But apartheid and the South African history, I think, was perfect for the story I wanted to tell, because it was about a community, a rural community, which means far away from big cities, and black community, white community of people, all linked by the same event of the past, a very dramatic event, which was a real trauma for the whole community, but who really has wounded everyone in his own flesh and heart, and how people deal with their own suffering when the link you have to the other people is a link made by a very violent history. Yeah. So I thought South Africa was perfect for this, because that's really what I wanted to talk about, the way how to live together, you know, to be more simple. I needed some snow. That's why I went to South Africa. Can you believe it?
Wouldn't think that.
Yeah, and yes, it's a part of South Africa that very few people know. By the way, no one of my team, some of the people came from Johannesburg, some came from Cape Town, and no one have ever been in this area before, which is very beautiful. And then, after a few versions of the script, I went there to write on the place, to first of all to find the locations, to make sure that the locations were close to what I had in mind, and then to meet people and to feel how people live today. Not only how they live with the past, which is something else, really, how do they live today with
their everyday work? Yeah.
Yes, people are farming, some are you know, doing things, are working in hotel, things like that, you know, and how do people live together, you know? For example, all the backstory of the jackals, that's an idea I had there, because a farmer had 135 sheep killed in one night by one hyena.
Oh.
Yeah, and you know, jumping from a small town to another one, I like to pick up the local paper, and that's where I found a picture of this man with his son, holding. Everyone was holding by an ear this huge brown hyena, and there was a picture of a field covered with dead sheep, you know, slaughtered dead sheep. So I went to meet these people. It took me 2 days to be allowed to meet these people. I had to go first to the man who wrote the article for the paper, then he called a friend. I had to be accepted, you know. And I liked this time spent there, and the way people had to take some precautions before meeting me. You know, I thought it was all right, and it gave me also the idea of the way I wrote the script, which is going to somebody, another one. There are a lot of main characters in the movie, and sometimes you never follow them very long during a lot of scenes, you are with one character, then you jump to another one, and you don't really know what's the link. And then it's like when you're a foreigner, you jump into a country, into an area where you have never been before. You meet somebody, then you meet someone else. After a few days, there's a link, an obvious link between those two persons, and that's the way you learn how people live and what the community looks like. And then this, when I went to write in South Africa, of course, I had to recreate a small town and the surroundings. And I didn't find everything in the same area. That's why I had 4 different main locations. All these were supposed in the movie to be about 30 miles, one from the other maximum. But in reality, it's 300 miles, So some locations are in Eastern Cape, some locations are in KwaZulu-Natal, so that's why. But I had to decide on the language because Eastern Cape is more Xhosa, KwaZulu-Natal is Zulu, but the sugar cane, the farmers, their culture belonged more to KwaZulu-Natal. That's why I brought LADYGREY to KwaZulu-Natal, and also it gave me the opportunity of telling people that's not the real LADYGREY. That's my LADYGREY for the movie. Your real LADYGREY is in Eastern Cape. My LADYGREY is there. So I'm telling a story which didn't really happen in LADYGREY. Yeah. It's very close to what happened here and there in South Africa, but I've really recreated this town and the surrounding.
I'm curious, when looking at the cast, Liam, how do you write that character? Because that character's arc and structure is so different. You don't want to make him too one way, otherwise you don't sympathize or understand maybe. Can you talk about writing that character compared to the others?
Yes, by the way, Liam, who plays Angus, is the bad guy.
Yeah.
Because he's the one who obviously has blood on his hands, obviously. But we don't know what he did, really. And he's the only one who knows. Even his wife is trying to go through the truth, but does she succeed or not? I mean, the audience will decide if she does or not. He's complex. He's really suffering. He's suffering because of his guiltness. But the way he suffers every day is not because of what he has done 10 years ago. He suffers because now he cannot see blood anymore. And when he sees a dead sheep, a sheep which has been slaughtered by jackals, and the fetus has been eaten by them, and that's something which happens quite very often, in this area. Really is more than upset. He's hurt in his soul, and then you think, well, this guy feels so bad.
Keep going.
Sorry. Okay. And then you think, oh, this guy feels so bad because of a dead sheep. And what about these 11 persons who have been killed and whose bodies have been burned and have been buried somewhere, and no one knows, and no one can have grace for their relatives. So that was a question. Can you accept the way somebody is suffering from his own guiltness? Are you ready to accept it if you live close to somebody like that? Do you accept his suffering? Do you have to judge it? Do you have to say, well, my suffering are more important than yours because I've lost somebody? You just love your dignity. You were an animal. He says it. I've been wild like an animal. He says it in the movie. So that's all this I wanted to talk about. So Angus is, and he's the one who has to deal with guiltness. All the others have to deal with something else, And it's funny because when I was it was a couple of weeks before starting the shooting. I was already in South Africa, and I had Skype calls quite often with the actors, with Emily Mortimer, Peter, or Liam, and Jeremy in Brussels. And Liam asked me. We had a few chat already, about the movie, and he just finished Game of Thrones. He asked me about the bear. I said, well, I don't think here farmers wear bear very often, and also I really want to see your face, and a bear can hide, your emotion. And he told me, you're right, and I wouldn't trust a guy who wears a bear. So I decided to shave. It was fun, and he told me on this Skype call, Alan, I've prepared a few questions. I think there are 20 of them about what Angus did, what's his past, and all this. And I was going to ask you all this, but now I think I know you a little bit more, and I know that I will ask you this question, and you will tell me you don't want to answer to them, so I won't ask you these questions. And he was right. I said, yes, you're right. You have to know the answers, probably, but I don't mind if I know them or not. You have to now, Angus is you. Just one thing, make him filled with humanity. I want to be able to like the guy, to share something with him. That was the main thing.
Yeah, no, I think you see that. Final question, showcasing it here at Dallas International Film Festival, we have a big South African community. I know that's not the target audience, but I think your audiences are going to be interesting on Sunday and Monday. What is your experience like here in Dallas for you, and what do you hope to hear from your audience, or are you excited to be showing?
Yes, of course, it's exciting to show the movie. It's exciting to be at a screening. We've had a few screenings already, in France and in Miami, and the thing is, if I feel that, I know that in the audience some people want like the film, and it's frank, when you see a movie, you love the film. You say to your best friend, "Oh, you should see this movie. It's wonderful. It's amazing." Your friend goes to the movie and he gives you a quote. Say, "I didn't like it very much." That's still your friend. It's just because that's the way everyone. A movie belongs to the audience after that, but not to the audience, but to everyone, to everybody. And so I'm quite comfortable with that. I know that perhaps people will not like, but I think that people who will like the movie, I would be very, very proud, or I will believe in the future of cinema if I've been able to share some emotions. I'm a French guy. I did a movie in South Africa with US, British, Belgian, French, South African actors, and now I'm screening the film in Dallas. If it works, that means, wow, that's good. We can still talk together from wherever part of the world we come from.
We are a united global thing.
Exactly, yes. That's one of the topic of the movie. There's a very beautiful thing said in South Africa about humanity, which the translation is always very, very bad. It's worse than I cannot tell it to you in Zulu, unfortunately. And it says, every human being is a part of humanity. And I like this very much, this idea.
Alan, I think that's a perfect way to end it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you.